All right, good afternoon and welcome to our listeners for today's webinar. Today we'll be talking about some technology buzzwords. We're getting our deck up here so we can take a look and see. And I am going to turn it over to Elise to let you know why we're here today.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Give me one moment to make sure that we are recording. And we are. Thanks so much. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tech Buzzwords in Action, Transformation, Automation, and Modernization. Let's take a look at the agenda here. So to begin, Carrie is going to give us an introduction to shared technology services. And then we have the Texas.gov application services, technology solution services, Texas private cloud and mainframe, public cloud management teams, all here presenting today. Then I'm going to wrap it up with some closing statements. That being said, everyone, please welcome Carrie to talk about and introduce shared technology services.
Thanks, Elise. So, like Elise said, my name's Carrie Davey. I am the MSI Director of Customer Experience, and I always love the opportunity to let folks know about our history and a little bit of how we got here. And on the next slide, you'll be able to see a breakdown of what shared technology services looks like. This is a helpful slide because it shows how our programs are broken down, but it also kind of tells the story of the history that we have had in the program in working with DIR to develop shared technology services. When we started our program over a decade ago, our focus was primarily in consolidating the environment, and we started with data center services. Over the years, we've had a number of significant transitions, including one in 2018, where the MSI moved to a new tool that incorporated a lot of the buzzwords you'll be hearing today as far as automation and transformation. And then in 2020, we expanded our DCS program to be the next generation of data center services. And that's when our program was joined by Technology Solution Services, as well as a DCS security operations model. And we switched around and expanded our Texas Private Cloud and Public Cloud Manager programs. We are a program that's driven by innovation and constantly looking for those new ways to implement these buzzwords that we hear in so many journal articles. And we're constantly on the lookout for ways that we can improve the automation and increase the efficiency that we use to manage our programs. Today, you'll be hearing from representatives from multiple parts of shared technology services who'll be sharing with you the ways that they take those buzzwords and incorporate them into the services that they make available to the constituents of Texas through shared technology services. With that, I'd like to go ahead and move on to the next slide and introduce our first speaker, which is Erica Witt from our Texas.gov Application Services program. Erica, if you'd like to introduce yourself and take it away.
Sure, thanks, Carrie. Hi, everyone. I am Erica Witt. I am the Marketing and Outreach Director on the Texas.gov project, and I'm here to share a little more about Texas.gov Application Services as a service component provider within the STS program. And today I'll be highlighting a couple of our success stories that we hope will give you a sense for how Texas.gov can help your organization transform, modernize, and automate. All right, next slide, please. Okay, for starters, before we dive in, and for those of you who may not be aware, Texas.gov is the state's official website and digital government program. Our mission is to give government entities a trusted and official platform to deliver the ease and convenience of online services to your constituents. And speaking of your constituents, the Texas.gov program is also here to enable them to access helpful, trusted information and do business with their government in many easy, secure, and user-friendly ways. Next slide, please. Okay, so here's a high-level glance at the ranges of services and capabilities that we can take care of for you when you're part of the Texas.gov family. So everything from the design and development of applications and websites to digital transformation and modernization to ongoing maintenance, operations, infrastructure, and of course, security, and even my specific area of expertise, which is marketing, analytics, user feedback, and constituent satisfaction. So really, bottom line, we can handle all of this for you to help you transform, modernize, and automate. Okay, next slide. So this is our first example of a transformation success story, Texas by Texas, or TXT for short. So TXT is the state's official digital assistant and really the realization of DIR's transformative vision to deliver a personalized and secure way for Texans to complete many government services via a single account-based experience. So why is TXT transformative? From a constituent perspective, there's a growing demand and even really an expectation from Texans that they should be able to take care of government services on their phones, much like they would do for other things in their lives, from banking to grocery shopping to traveling. And we're also continuing to hear from Texans that they'd really like to have one place and one way to take care of these types of routine government tasks, rather than going from agency to agency, all maybe with different user interfaces, different user experiences, but still often asking for some of the same general information. And then from a government entity perspective, it's really certainly no secret that being able to provide your constituents with readily available and accessible digital service options does go a long way to improving constituent satisfaction, creating efficiencies for your organization, and even enabling continuity of operations during times when your physical offices aren't open. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so if you're not already familiar with TXT, or you may not have a TXT account yourself, here's some of the key features of the product from a constituent perspective. Basically, TXT offers one official place for Texans to create that singular secure account with verified identity. Um, they're able to establish a customized profile and preferences, including saved payment methods. That way, if you're taking care of multiple services, you've got a payment method ready to go. You can sign up and receive proactive reminders via multiple different channels, email, SMS, text, and or push notification. You can access multiple online services from multiple Texas customers. So we've got the Departments of Public Safety, Motor Vehicles, and Licensing and Regulation integrated on the platform. And then most importantly, being able to actually take care of those transactions on TXT, like vehicle registration renewal, driver license ID renewals, replacement, address changes, and more. And new services coming soon. We have a couple that we're actively in the works and hoping to bring onto the platform here in the coming year or so. Okay, next slide, please. So really, in terms of results sort of evidenced by these key performance indicators, TXT is really delivering on its transformative mission with unprecedented user adoption and user satisfaction. This slide is actually slightly outdated because the data changes so often. But as of the end of July, we have nearly 7 million TXT accounts and more than 14.3 million transactions have been completed on the platform. TXT also has a 93% user satisfaction rating, and 95% of users say that they would recommend TXT to someone else. This is coming from thousands of survey responses that we receive every month after a user completes a TXT transaction. TXT is a responsive web application, but we also have native iOS and Android mobile apps as well. So these apps are consistently in the 4.7 to 4.8 rating range on Apple and Google. In fact, I just checked today and we're up to 4.9 on Apple. So really great performance from a mobile app perspective as well. And then there on the left, like we literally get hundreds, if not thousands, of amazing quotes from Texans about TXT. We can't highlight them all, so these are just a couple of the more recent ones that really speak to how impressed people are that a government application can be so good. And that's quite, frankly, transformational in and of itself. Okay, next slide. All right, so now I'm going to switch gears and talk about another recent success story that highlights how Texas.gov can also help you modernize and automate processes. So this particular project was in collaboration with the Department of Public Safety for their third-party skills testing program, which is TPST for short. So in a nutshell, this program lets certified third-party examiners across the state administer the driving test for people who are getting their driver license for the very first time. So previously, once these driving tests were completed, the examiners would give the applicants a sealed envelope with their test results, and they'd have to take that to a DPS office to go through the next phase of the process, which is to upgrade their driver license by having the B restriction removed from their provisional license. So as noted here, this was a completely manual paper submission in office-based service. And DPS really wanted to bring the whole of this process online for all parties involved. So that's where Texas.gov came in. Next slide, please. So in collaboration with DPS, we developed two new portals. One online portal for TPST examiners to securely submit or resubmit applicant documents and test results. These are called packets. And then another portal for DPS employees to review, approve, or reject packets. So we fully modernized and automated that side of the process, but that wasn't all. We also automated the process for constituents by integrating the DPS portal with TXT so that now drivers could do their license upgrade online rather than in an office. So now users can create a TXT account, they can link their provisional driver license, and then after they pass their skills test and DPS approves their packet, they'll have the option to upgrade their driver license via an item in their personalized TXT to-do list. Also of note, we used this project opportunity to allow minors between the ages of 16 and 18 to create a TXT account as well. So previously, before this project went live, you had to be at least 18 to use TXT. So we definitely have some guardrails in place in terms of what the minors can do on TXT, but for them, upgrade driver license is an available service for them to do. Next slide. Okay, so we launched this project several months ago, and since then, more than 250 TPST examiners have onboarded onto the new submission portal. And this data is actually dated as well because as of the end of July, there have been more than 1,600 upgrade driver license transactions that have happened on TXT too. And last but not least, sort of the area that's I'm most familiar with, this project also gave us the opportunity to market Texas.gov and more specifically, this TXT service to a Gen Z audience for the first time ever. Because in case you didn't know, DIR also invests in annual marketing campaigns to promote Texas.gov services to Texans. There's currently more than 4.2 million Gen Z Texans in the 15 to 24 age range. They represent nearly 20% of the state's entire population. So they're a really important constituent base for the future of TXT and Texas.gov. So we're currently running a very targeted digital marketing campaign with a really generationally savvy approach for this unique audience. And that campaign is featuring TXT's very own driving cat, Mr. Waffles. This campaign has been going gangbusters. It's been in market since June. It's performing very well. In fact, it's overperforming against commercial and industry benchmarks. And we've had a lot of fun learning about this audience and where and how to market to them effectively so we can take those lessons and apply them to future campaigns. So that's what I have for you today, unless there's any questions.
Thank you so much, Erica. I love
Yes.
seeing this cat, so I'm always happy when he shows up in any of our webinars. And I think it's a great representation of how we stay adaptable and we stay on top of the latest trends. And so that was a great section on Texas.gov. Next, we'll turn to a piece of our data center services program, which is technology solution services. And we have Vinky and Kishore here today to talk about that. If y'all would like to introduce yourselves and take it away.
Will do. Thank you, Carrie. Hey, good afternoon. My name is Vinky Mehta. I'm a managing director with Deloitte, and I'm responsible for running our technology solution services engagement as part of the STS program. By the way, I did spend quite a bit of time before TSS working on Texas.gov. So it's really exciting for me to see what Erica was showing, how the Texas.gov gov program and TXT has continued to evolve and make a difference in the life of Texans. So let's move to the next slide. What we want to talk about today is not really detail of what is TSS. We'll try to introduce what TSS is along the way, but we want to talk about the buzzwords that you see in the industry. You see it when you are interacting with the DCS programs. So there are probably hundreds, thousands of buzzwords that you hear, but we picked the top 5, which we thought are interesting and important and maybe engaging to, as we introduce what these buzzwords are and what they mean in the program, also introduce and tell you more about the TSS services. So the 5 buzzwords are legacy modernization, low code, no code, identity management, infrastructure as code, and Gen AI. So if you are in technology, I'm sure you have come across these words. Probably you come across many of these words probably on the daily basis. I'm sure the last one, Gen AI, is something you hear about it all the time now. So let's move to the next slide. So what I'm going to do is this. I have with me my colleague, Kishore Rathi. He's an expert technologist and he'll introduce himself and we will go through this slide together. I will set it up, and then he will basically dive deeper into some of these buzzwords. So what I want to do is take these buzzwords and explain how they apply in the context of TSS or technology solution services. And if we broadly look at what we do in TSS, we provide these services called as strategy management services, which is sort of open-ended, high-level discussions that we have with agencies to help them understand data center services, shared technology services, help them consume those services in the most efficient way that meets their business needs. And these services are provided through the CTA program, the Customer Technical Architect program. Uh, the Once we have had that open-ended discussion and the agencies and the customer has a beginning to form an idea as to what they want to do next in terms of their strategy, then they can create what is called as an idea ticket or create a high-level HLA or a ROM request for us. And in that case, what we would do is give them a high-level architecture and high-level cost estimate, roadmap, timeline, plan to sort of execute that portion of their strategy. And the next step, once the customer looks at it and they feel, yeah, this looks like it's in the right ballpark, in the right range, they have the budget and the funding, then they create what is called as RFS or request for solution, a demand ticket in DCS in the ServiceNow tool that is managed by MSI. Capgemini. And that's when really the demand is solution, it gets created and converted into a project, and then we start implementing that project. And once it is delivered, the customer takes over and then it moves into the operations world. So that's sort of the life cycle of from how something which is an idea or a concept gets converted into something concrete or operational in the DCS program. So with that background, now let's go and look at these keywords. So the first keyword I want to talk about is legacy modernization. And Kishore, so would you like to please introduce yourself and then talk about what is legacy modernization? And then let's see how it applies to these services within TSS.
Sure, Vicky. Thank you very much. Thanks, everybody. My name is Kishore Rathi, and I'm a customer technical architect under TSS program, and I'm the CTA for HHSC and DSLAC, the two agencies of the state. So legacy modernization, what does it do? It refers to the process of transforming outdated monolithic IT systems and applications into a more agile, scalable, and efficient modern architecture. This transformation, by the way, is very crucial in today's fast-paced digital landscape. Some of the use cases which will fall under this category would be migrating proprietary infrastructure to commodity hardware or cloud, applications which were built several years on multiple disparate technologies, and outdated software being used in legacy application, and these softwares may have various risk layers. With that said, the TSS in DCS program can help the agency guide, advise, and support with navigating and addressing legacy modernization initiatives like legacy modernization assessment, keeping currency with industry trend, reducing technical debt. And Winky, a DCS customer can request legacy modernization services under request for solution route by creating a demand ticket. But before they can create a demand ticket, they can have a strategy management sessions about various aspects of legacy modernization.
Cool. Sounds good. Thanks, Kishore. So let's talk about this term. So if somebody is not a technologist, they probably find it really confusing. Low code and no code, what does it mean building something with low code or with no code? Could you shed some light on these two terms?
Absolutely. In existing IT application development practices where you create the application using some of the old technologies in the low code, no code environment, those programming languages, those outdated database management systems are not needed. So in a low code, no code environment, they basically allow you to do rapid application development with very little effort. It generally makes user interface customization with configuration changes. Case management type of applications are the rapidly developed using these tools. By having these features like accelerated development cycles, using pre-built components, drag and drop interfaces. Next, reduced development costs by enabling less technical staff like business users to do the development by clicking and changing configuration. Next is going to be enhanced collaboration and increased agility with the IT staff and business users working together so that the final product is more aligned with business needs. And then the integration capabilities of these platforms where they use APIs to connect with existing systems and data sources for very cohesive and efficient workflows. Lastly, continuous improvement and innovation with iterative version control, testing, and analytics, Winky.
Okay, so I think that was a good summary of what local. I think I'm beginning to get that. So from what I understand, some of the common technologies for implementing low code, no code are Salesforce and Appian or ServiceNow. Some of these technologies can be used to build a low code, no code solution. Uh, just to give more information on how we are using it in the program, in the DCS STS program, I would say 3 to 4 years ago, I would say 70 to 80% of the applications were custom built, Java or .NET. Now we are seeing that 50% or more applications that are being built are using the low code, no code platform like Salesforce, ServiceNow, uh, Azure, Power Apps uh, platform for building these low code, no code applications. All right. So let's move on to our third buzzword, identity management. What does identity management mean, Kishore?
So as the word says identity, the management of an identity, it's a very critical IT framework, Winky, which focuses on ensuring that right individuals have appropriate access to the systems and technology resources like applications. It generally encompasses policies, processes, and technologies used to manage and secure digital identity with very controlled access to agency resources like application. And it does that by having appropriate authentication, login, authorization to access various management, access recertification, audit compliance, zero trust if necessary, and it is being done with a very centralized identity management platform. And this is done to have a very secure application access. Sometimes, most of the time, the authentication will require single sign-on, multi-factor authentication, self-service password management with minimized help desk involvement and external user registration. And obviously, lastly, this also provides us identity governance, which automates the management and control of access, delivering only the required access to the right users as they join, leave, or change position within the organization, Vinky.
All right, yeah, all that makes sense. So some of the common technologies or products that provide identity management solutions are ForgeRock, Okta, SailPoint, um, and uh, and then within the program there are services. There is a service as part of Texas.gov currently called TDIS, Texas Digital Identity Solution, that can be used by the agencies to actually get identity management as a service from the program. And we have also built identity solutions for the enterprise for large organizations which need their own identity systems, like HHSC. HHSC has built a solution called IAM Online, which is used by over 100 plus applications now within the enterprise, which is built as part of the STS program. Cool. All right. So let's move on to this other term, infrastructure as code. It seems odd to talk about infrastructure and code at the same time, because when I think of code, I think of applications. So what does it mean, Kishore, when we say infrastructure as code?
That's a very good point, Vinky. Typically, infrastructure deals with various servers, networks, network gear, and then the supplemental information technology apparatus. But this also brings infrastructure gets out of whack when it is deployed in various environments like development, QA, production, or even for disaster recovery or for high availability. And so infrastructure as code is a pivotal technology for modernizing and streamlining IT infrastructure. So here the infrastructure is represented as code so that it can offer numerous advantages like enhanced efficiency, consistency, agility. And it does so like having consistency and standardization by eliminating discrepancy in development, testing, and production environment so that the application behaves same in any one of these environments. It also provides enhanced automation. It provides scalability and flexibility for quick scaling to meet the changing demands. It also provides version control and auditing. It also provides disaster recovery and business continuity in terms of failures, hence providing high availability or disaster recovery. And finally, it provides improved collaboration and DevOps integration with cost efficiency by automating infrastructure management and optimizing the resource allocation. And by the way, Vinky, DCS program is continuously evolving adoption of these various capabilities of this pivotal technology to modernize and streamline IT infrastructure.
Awesome. Sounds really exciting. I know there are the common infrastructure as code technologies people may have heard of, like A- AWS Cloud Formation Script or Terraform, and these are the technologies which are used extensively in the DCS STS program. All right, so let's come to our last buzzword, which I'm sure everybody has heard of, which is Gen AI. So tell us a little bit about Gen AI.
This is definitely the call of the day, Vinky. Gen
Yeah.
AI, generative AI, it holds transformative potential for the government sector by offering a range of benefits to enhance public services, streamline operation, improve decision making with the following key advantage. Enhanced public services. It can automate routine tasks and provide intelligent assistance for targeted services to the citizens. Data-driven decision-making. It analyzes vast amount of data to uncover pattern, trend, and insights. It provides operational efficiency by streamlining administrative processes like document processing, data entry, and compliance checks. Predictive analytics is another aspect it provides by using models to forecast events like natural disasters, disease outbreaks. Enhanced security, fraud detection is another area it excels by identifying unusual patterns and behaviors indicating fraudulent activities or security threats. Obviously, the cost savings is always there by automating routine tasks and improving operational efficiency. Various agencies, as we know under DCS program, are continuously evaluating the various dimensions of Gen AI. So I'm very excited that this particular area is getting traction on every day by various agencies, and they are seeing the potential of this new technology, Vinky.
Yeah, this is within the program. I know we are looking at Gen AI for improving our app development work by using tools like GitHub Copilot and code generation. We are using Gen AI and related technologies for identity and fraud detection. There are numerous places where these technologies are already taking hold and it is being used. All exciting areas. Well, I know that was a lot of buzzwords and a lot of deep technology discussions. So with that, I want to close our discussion on TSS. We'll have a separate session where we'll go deeper into each of these services areas in one of the future calls. All right, with that, Carrie, I want to hand it back to you.
Thanks so much,
Thank you all.
Vinky. That was some really fascinating stuff. You definitely hit on so many of those keywords that we hear and helped us to understand a little bit more, not just what they are, but how we use them here at STS. So thanks for that.
Thank you.
So TSS, Technology Solution Services, is part of that data center services team that I talked about at the start of the call. And you can go ahead and go on to the next slide, Elise. The next section that we'll talk about is Texas Private Cloud and Mainframe. And then after that, we'll talk about our Public Cloud Manager, which are two teams that work together in shared technology services alongside Technology Solution Services, as well as us at the MSI team, to make sure that we are helping customers find the best and most efficient way to solve their IT problems. So next we'll turn to the Texas Private Cloud, and instead of Margie, we have Rudy here with us today who's going to talk to us about how TPC integrates all of these buzzwords. So good afternoon, Rudy. You can introduce yourself and just launch right in.
Good afternoon. My name is Rudy Montoya, and I'm the account executive for Atos in Texas. And be glad to share, just take a few moments here to share what's going on with the Texas Private Cloud and to a lesser degree the mainframe. But if there are any questions about the mainframe, please let me know, especially for those new customers who may be looking at a partner on where to go with the mainframe and then move it forward in terms of where it lands. As Carrie said, this is a true partnership, and you see it reflected here today, whether it's Deloitte with TSS and then Rackspace and Public Cloud or Atos Private Cloud. It's a true team effort that gives state of Texas and whether it's local, city, county, or state agencies, higher ed, the opportunity to consume some of these services. Specifically, Atos has been delivering the Texas Private Cloud for a number of years, and we're a true partner in terms of how we move forward, how we work with the agencies, and we take a lot of these things. There's a lot of activity that's going on, and Vinky did a great job in explaining some of those specific terms, and especially around generative AI and what's happening in that space, and where it fits in the Texas Private Cloud. We have an opportunity to work with you, and we believe from our perspective what the state has done through Texas DIR in terms of setting up the private, I'd say both private and public cloud, to position as well. But in the private cloud, we tailor solutions that are specific to agencies, the agencies or the governmental bodies' needs in terms of delivering those solutions that are secure, scalable, and compliant to cloud environments. The private cloud in Texas is a cloud solution and an option. We introduce a significant amount of automation in terms of the activities that we do, how to streamline not only our resources and how we manage it, but also how we work with you individually in delivering your specific solutions. And so there's to a degree, to the extent possible, automation is tied closely and aligned to what we do. And then in terms of transformation strategies, there's a number of things that we work in terms of working specifically with you on how we meet the modern demands, the demands that you have in your agencies, what your business customers as well as your external customers expect and demand from you. And so this particular area in the private cloud, we're an innovative partner with you. And I want to go to the next slide. And this is where we get into the next innovation, and specifically as we start to look at disaster recovery, backup as a service. And I'm gonna spend a little bit more time on our slides here and a few slides down to talk about that. But what we again, I want to just reinforce and underline that message that what is delivered in the Texas private cloud, we bring an enhanced security solution and an enhanced scalable solution, and I think most importantly, a cost-effective solution in terms of managing from an application perspective, what you're trying to accomplish, what you're ultimately trying to do from your databases, from your applications, and the key is that cost-effective model, and that's what we have here. Now, specifically, the two areas, and I'm going to get into a little bit more, is disaster recovery and backup as a service. And so when we talk about innovation and we talk about meeting and addressing the needs of your constituents, the people that you serve, it's absolutely the capability, the ability on a disaster recovery front. We offer some robust solutions that are innovative, that are forward thinking, and that position you very well to respond to threats, respond to situations that allow you to minimize the downtime that you may experience because of something that's going on. In addition, in terms of innovation, is our backup as a service solution, and it gives you some flexibility. So it's not necessarily that you're fully into the data center program, but you at least want to start as a backup as a service. And this is one particular area in which our new customers come in and try, and they're going to stay focused on their environment, but they want to come in. And again, as an innovative partner, we're able to break out pieces, we're able to work with you, we're able to partner with you in terms of delivering services. Let me go next slide. At a high level, for those of you that are not familiar with the Texas private cloud, we deliver a number of services through the data center. We have data protection services, storage services, software-defined data center that we provide to the network, automation tools, network-related services, and security-related services. And the final one, I'm sorry, the compute-related services. So it's not just one piece of the private cloud. It's continuously innovating, responding to customers' needs, responding to future demands that come from customers, and allowing us to evolve, working with Texas DIR. But specifically, we're in this swim lane, which is the private cloud. We perform over 500,000 backups every month with a 99.95% success rate. We're now in excess of 6,000. I think we're getting close to 7,000 servers. We support some very small entities that are probably some 20 instances or less to the largest agencies in Texas. So if you think about, the Department of Health and Human Services, Department of Transportation, as the large entities, and some small ones like the Commission on Law Enforcement. So we can, from our perspective, we're delivering services, whether small or big. You get the same level of support, the same level of delivery from Atos and what we provide. Underlying all of this is our security services. Now, through the program, there's an umbrella organization that delivers security, but we also, from our perspective, our solutions come pre-configured from the server and the network solutions for all the things that you need on the Texas private cloud We partner with DIR, we partner with SAIC on the security, and then we deliver some strong and robust capabilities from that side. Next slide. As I said, I want to spend a little bit of time talking about some of our additional services that are innovative, that support the things that the areas that are very important to you, and especially as you look at next level solutions and ultimately it comes down to data. And so one of the things that we feature is the backup as a service. So it's the private cloud backup as a service. And this is an innovative way for you to where you're at in your data center to still have the full access and the strength of the Texas DIR solution of the private cloud. And you have the ability to, we can come in and we work with you in terms of having your data backed up to the data center. So it removes you. So if you're at a remote site, you're outside of the Austin area, and even if you're in Austin, we have a backup facility in San Angelo, Texas. So those are our two locations, Austin and San Angelo. But you have the ability to just begin your as initial service as a backup. And we have some entities that start out that way and eventually grow into more services from the data center. But I think that's the important thing. You get to select as a customer what data is going to be backed up, the frequency, the retention period, and you get access to see its status. You get access to if you want to validate information, but we replicate it, and then we have, again, our alternative site. So it's not just going to be in one. So if you back up to San Angelo, it's going to then be backed up to Austin and vice versa. I think it's very important. And so that, from that side, it is a service. So you don't necessarily have to jump into all of everything that you're doing, but start out with that. And again, it aligns with the things that you're doing from an application perspective, the innovative practices that you're doing, whether even the generative AI side in terms of ensuring that all your data is backed up and protected. Next slide. And dark capacity is one of the newer services that we offer. And so again, it's another opportunity at a very affordable price point. So it's substantially, we've delivered is given from a cost perspective, it's very affordable. And what we do here in this perspective is it's a reservation system for the virtual resources. So it allows you to have capacity at the data center. It remains dormant until the time that you need it. But what we're doing right now is that we're providing you disaster recovery. You have a place to land. We're backing up your data. We can restore it very quickly from that perspective, and it's ready to go. And we're using again our additional resources that we have. So customers, as I note here, can use dark capacity to replace a repurposed disaster recovery target, such as a test dev they do not wish to lose during a disaster recovery test or event. And so again, it's very innovative, it's creative, and it's using our existing resources. Next slide. And this one I'll leave because I think we're going to provide this. I'm just mindful of our time. Is that there, from a dark capacity perspective, these are the classifications that we have with DIR, and it allows you to just get a perspective about when things come up and why it's important to consider disaster recovery a dark capacity solution. Next slide. And move over here as well. And again, being from an innovative perspective, we've got fully managed solutions versus semi-managed. And that's the flexibility that's offered. The DIR has asked that we get very creative in what we do. And so we can do a fully managed end-to-end from the server build all the way to the support to a semi-managed where, again, we build the server and we patch on a regular basis, but then you're ultimately responsible as a customer for the operating system management beyond the patching. And so again, it's as we want to be flexible, we want to work with you to deliver some strong solutions in the background that allow you to move forward and continue to innovate to the business or the end customer from your governmental body. Next slide. I think that may be
You
the
did
last
it.
one. I did it, and I'm
You
just trying to
did
be
it.
mindful because I want to give Joe plenty of time to talk about public cloud. Joe, or
Yeah.
go back to you, Carrie.
Absolutely. Thanks, Rudy, so much. You nailed it on the time, and now we're excited to hear from Joe, the last piece of today's presentation, where we turn from the private cloud to the public cloud to hear about what sorts of exciting buzzwords they're implementing over there. Joe, go ahead and take it away.
Thanks, Carrie, very much. And Rudy, thank you as well. Yes, we're going to actually talk about, if you would please click to the next slide. I am Joe Nanus. I am with Rackspace Technology. I'm the outreach and growth manager for the DCS program from a public cloud manager perspective. Kind of the goal today was take a little bit of a lighthearted approach on demystifying some of the IT buzzwords in public cloud. This is the roadmap that we'll kind of go through on this. I would also share that, right now we're running at, in July, our customer sat for public cloud management was 98.8%. Over a 13-month period, we're running with a customer sat level of 97.5%, continuing to kind of focus on that, trying to get as close to 100% as possible. Next slide, please, ma'am. Cloud computing. Many folks have probably sat in meetings and discussed cloud computing. Understanding what cloud computing is, when we think about it, cloud computing is really using someone else's servers and storage in that regards and networking, and you're utilizing it over the internet, enabling users to access and use resources on demand. It operates on a global network of servers, allowing data to be stored and accessed remotely rather than on local computers and servers. Major providers like Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud, and Oracle Cloud infrastructure excuse me, sorry, meaning users don't have to worry about the maintenance or hardware. And in the DCS program, these clouds are managed and maintained through Rackspace as the public cloud manager. We have a couple of levels of services as well. You have your fully managed service, you have your semi-managed service. And then for customers that are more familiar with the cloud and willing to kind of take on the additional risk, they have an option such as advanced cloud accounts, which leans more into a little bit of self-service. So imagine cloud computing as renting a supercomputer that you can access anywhere while you rest on your float of a virtual air mattress, sipping a pina colada, or in Texas, maybe a margarita, right? Carefree about the technical details. Next slide, please. So we throw out words or acronyms such as SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS. SaaS being software as a service. Think of this in a pizza scenario. So SaaS provides fully functional software that's delivered over the internet. I would kind of use the analogy like Microsoft Office 365. Then if you look at PaaS, platform as a service, that offers a platform for developers to build or bring applications that are cloud ready without having to manage the infrastructure. So it's similar to assembling a pizza, but you don't have to build out the infrastructure underneath it. When you look at IaaS, this is really giving you the raw computing resources to build your custom solutions, like making a pizza from scratch. And I think many times when we're talking to customers around IaaS, there's another terminology, which is a lift and shift, where you're basically taking physical infrastructure and moving it into virtual infrastructure that's in the cloud. Sometimes this is a step where you can lean towards modernization. Other times it's one that we need to actually sit back and review and say, does this make sense to leave in the Texas private cloud versus moving it into the public cloud currently until that application is modernized? Next slide, please. For those who've always kind of wanted to actually scratch their head and go, okay, what is my team talking about DevOps? DevOps is a combination of development and operations. The aim on this is to enhance the collaboration between the software developers and IT operations team. It focuses on shortening the software development lifecycle while delivering high quality software at a faster pace. DevOps practices encourages automation, continuous integration, and continuous delivery, ensuring that software is released efficiently and reliably. The culture of DevOps promotes communication and collaboration, similar to that of a synchronized swimming team performing in harmony. And for those of you that watch synchronized swimming at the Olympics, that is some pretty intense stuff and pretty amazing. So when it's done right, it looks really good. Think of DevOps as a rock band also. Each member has a distinct role, but they all work together to create a great performance. Next slide, please. Security. One of the things we're always talking about inside of the DCS program is security. How do we make sure that everything is secure? When we talk about or you hear secure edge, understanding the secure edge, that's really refers to the practice of processing data closer to its source. So at the local devices or networks, rather than relying solely on centralized cloud services. This approach enhances response times and reduces bandwidth usage so that it ensures the data is handled efficiently and securely. So you can imagine a mini fortress where your data is processed locally, allowing for faster access and added security measures against potential threats. I think one of the things that we would kind of think of is a lot of the sensors, the IoT sensors that are out on the road today, where TxDOT may be gathering a lot of information. That would be kind of what would rely on the secure edge. So you can gather that data locally and then consume it back into what would be our next slide, into a big data scenario. So understanding big data, because a lot of people talk about big data. There for a while, there was a lot of information technology authors that were producing books around big data. It actually refers to extremely large data sets that traditional data processing software cannot handle. It encompasses data from social media, sensors, transactions, and more, requiring advanced analytical tools to extract insights. The goal is to analyze this data to uncover patterns and trends, enabling better decision-making processes and predictions. As we move through working with the agencies, a lot of them are focused on this and getting more of that data pulled together. So there's a lot of collaboration going on between agencies as well, because a lot of the data sets may be similar. Next slide, please. And then, of course, AI and machine learning. That buzzword has been flying around quite a bit lately. So understanding that, it means a lot to a lot of people. So when we sit down and talk about AI and machine learning with individual agencies and public sector customers, first of all, we want to understand what their ultimate goal is around that. Artificial intelligence referring to the capability of machines to perform tasks that would typically require human intelligence. So in that case, machine learning is a subset of AI focused on the idea that systems can learn from that data, identify patterns, and make decisions with minimal human intervention, but with human oversight. AI encompasses a wide range of technologies, including natural language processing, computer vision, and robotics, all aimed at simulating human-like intelligence. Machine learning algorithms improve over time as they are exposed to more data, enabling them to make more accurate predictions and decisions. So imagine a robot honing its stand-up comedy routine, learning from the audience reaction to deliver better jokes each time. So that could be AI getting funnier with practice. Next slide, please. Blockchain. Understanding what blockchain is. I would tell you to think about cryptocurrency. That was one of the first things that came out when blockchain started to be talked about a lot in the media. But blockchain is a secure and decentralized way of recording information that is visible to all but cannot be altered by any single party. It serves as the backbone for cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, ensuring data integrity and security throughout a distributed ledger system. Each block contains a list of transactions, and once a block is filled, it is linked to the previous block, creating a chain of blocks. Think of blockchain as a digital neighborhood watch group. Everyone can see who's taking out the trash, the data transactions, if you will, but no one can change what's already been recorded. And finally, the next slide, we have some key takeaways that we'd like you to have today. In understanding tech buzzwords like cloud computing, SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS can help you navigate conversations in the tech world with confidence. DevOps continuing to foster a collaboration between development and operations, enabling faster and more efficient software delivery, and the secure edge, bringing cloud capabilities closer to the data generation points, enhancing speed and security. Big data providing insights from vast amounts of information, transforming decision-making process, And AI and machine learning are revolutionizing industries by automating tasks and learning from data patterns. All of this is capable and possible through both the DCS private cloud as well as the public cloud. So we encourage you, if you have any questions about any of these buzzwords, to just reach out to your public cloud resources and or through MSI to get time with us to discuss them further. And Carrie, with that, I will turn it back over to you.
Thanks so much, Joe. We're right on time, and everything was so interesting and amazing here. I think your summary slide was a great example that really kind of shows those same content ideas that we saw echoed throughout everyone's presentations today, hopefully demonstrating to our listeners how we don't just read those articles and repeat those words, we take them to heart, we figure out what they mean, and we find ways to implement them in our program to the benefit of our customers. So with that, Elise, do you want to let folks know what they can do next if they want to learn more?
Absolutely. All right, everyone. If you'd like to contact us, please reach out to the email on the screen. So outreach.dir, sharedservices.nar@capgemini.com. Or if you want, you can send us an inquiry at that link on the screen. It will take you to an intake form, and we respond within 2 business days. With that being said, I want to say thank you so much to all of our presenters, and everyone have a great rest of their day.